So let's see if I can get this to full screen. Everybody see that? I get a thumbs up. Awesome. Perfect. Thank you very much. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with kind of our discussion a little bit, but I do want to start with some introductions of folks as well. I will start with myself. My name is, for those that I do not know, my name is Angie Lindsay. I'm a faculty member at the University of Florida and one of the point of contacts for the state of Florida for Eden. And I am currently the National Eden Chair. Monty Dozier, who is with Texas A&M University and is the National Eden Co-Chair, unfortunately could not join us today. So he is unable to be with us today, but did want to make sure that I let y'all know who the National Co-Chair is as well. Okay, so we did welcomes. Thank you, everybody. And I did want to kind of go over quickly kind of the purpose of this meeting. So we try to do this meeting twice a year, a point of contact meeting. Obviously, we hope to see everybody at the annual conference, which is going to be happening in Maine in October, and I'll talk about that in our updates as well. But we do like to see everyone at the annual conference, but we know that's not always available for everybody. So we try to do kind of twice a year point of contact meeting, especially for those folks that are new point of contacts, a little bit more context of what is Eden, what are we about, but then also give you some updates and some information, what's coming on the horizon or what's been happening since the annual conference back in October. And then like I said earlier, we really want to have a chance to have some discussion and able to answer any questions folks may have as well. So I will actually start with the what is Eden, and this is a quick overview, and I'm happy to share these slides with anyone who would like to use them. Or if you want to get into more information regarding the history, there's some folks on here that can give you a lot more information about the history than myself. But this is just kind of an overview of what Eden is. Obviously, we're an acronym because we're an institution, we're a network in academia, and we love our acronyms. So we are the Extension Disaster Education Network. And it's a collaborative, multi-state effort by cooperative extension services across the country to improve the delivery of services to citizens affected by disasters. Our mission is to reduce the impact of disasters through that research-based education, which Extension is so well known for. And obviously, I say all the time, the strength is in the network. And so the strength is in the network of the folks that are on this call that are able not only to share those best management practices, but to support each other in times of disaster and some of the things that we're going through. So I always say that the strength of this is truly in that network point. So our work is to provide that research-based resources to cooperative extension service for all types of disaster. That includes natural, technological, biological, and human calls. We do this through sharing our individual state work with Eden, whether it be through one-on-one, through our website, which we'll talk about that later as well. We work collaboratively on projects regionally, especially on those of us within the parts of the country that are impacted by certain natural disasters. We work collaboratively as well. And we assess the needs and work to fulfill gaps that are within communities that are impacted by disasters, or some that have high risk to certain types of disasters as well. So just to give an idea of where we are, basically, so we work obviously with 1862s and 1890s. We also are currently working with a couple of 1994s to develop that advisory group as well. So our history, Eden was actually created after catastrophic flooding along the Mississippi River in 1993 and inspired the need for extension role in preparation, mitigation, response, and recovery. And currently, Eden is funded by the USDA NIFA as well. Our partnerships, we actually have formal partnerships with the USDA and NIFA. And then we also have a formal partnership with NOAA. And in fact, we have a Sea Grant liaison that sits on the executive committee for us, and that is Bill Hubbard. Currently, and unfortunately, he was not able to make this meeting, but he is our Sea Grant liaison currently. Our membership is actually your institution, so rather than individuals or Eden members, so to speak. Each institution can have one point of contact, unless you're a state like Florida, where we have our our sister institution, 1890 institution, and then we also have Sea Grant that's also there. So we actually have 3 point of contacts from the state of Florida. So it depends on what situation is in your state as well. And then you can have as many delegates as you would like to have. And signing up for delegates is very easy, and we can talk about that if later on. Land grant institution or program becomes the member when the director or administrator names a point of contact and submits an Eden cooperative agreement. And we have all that readily available on our website as well. It's very easy to do. Eden is a network of land grant extension services, as I said, from 1862, 1890, 1994, on Hispanic serving institutions and NOAA Sea Grant programs. Our structure is that each institution has 1 point of contact or possibly more. Institutions may have additional delegates, and currently we have more than 300 dedicated volunteers representing more than 75 different areas of expertise as well. Our leadership includes the executive committee, which is composed of the Eden officers, which is the chair, chair-elect, and secretary. And then each one of our committees, we have 9 committees, and I'll get to those in just a second. Each has a chair and sometimes a chair-elect as well. Eden support staff that we'll talk about, and then standing committee chairs when NIFA, Sea Grant 1890, and an ECOP liaison as well. Eden officers all serve a 2-year term. We have currently 9 active standing committees. Our functional committees include exercise and resilience training and disasters, our annual conference committee, our professional development, and our marketing and membership committee. Programmatic committees include 4-H and youth development, agriculture, community and economic development, natural resources, family and consumer sciences. And any delegate can join any of these committees. And we encourage our delegates and our point of contacts to join several committees if they would like. You don't just have to pick one. Our 1890 advisory board, Kimberly's here today to represent our advisory board, includes 15 of the 19 1890 land grant institutions. They meet face-to-face yearly and have several multi-state projects and grants as well. They do some trainings throughout the year, and then they meet monthly and the liaison reports at the Eden Executive Committee as well. So into some of the fun stuff, some of the resources that are available as being part of Eden. Materials for preparedness, recovery, and mitigation are available on our website, and I'll go into the website in just a second here. This includes response notes, and I'll explain a little bit more about response notes when I click on the website as well. Publications are available, toolkits and guides, webinars, fact sheets, and checklists, especially on our resource dashboard, which I'll show where that is as well. We also have some professional development opportunities and grant funding opportunities that are sometimes posted on here as well. So let's see if this works. Give me a second here. I think I have to stop sharing and then share this. So y'all bear with me a second, sorry. Again, technology is not my thing, so. Okay, so everybody see the website now? Friends up, awesome.
Yes.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so response notes is up here in the right-hand corner, right here in the upper right-hand corner. And what this is this is simply a document that lets us know that you are currently, and your state is currently going through a disaster of some type, basically. What it does is it actually has several different levels of how this helps. And I'll give a very good example of, for instance, when Florida is going through a hurricane. So what I would do is I would go into this document and let them know, let response notes know what kind of disaster I'm dealing with, what kind of impact it may have had, some of our efforts that we have had, what have we used Eden resources, have we not, anything that I would like to have, but then also letting folks know if I needed any help in any areas. Was there resources that I needed, the resources that I did not need? So this information goes to the officers and the executive committee, as well as our FATI team also, to determine what resources and how we may be able to support those folks that are currently going through disasters. This information also goes to USDA and NIFA, which they use this information to determine the work of extension and disasters throughout the country. But then they also will use this information to share at higher levels to show what certain communities are going through and the role that extension is playing in the communities as well. So this can go to several different levels of asking for help, but then also letting those at the higher level know the work that's being done by Extension and some of the needs within communities as well, especially after large disasters also. For those of you that may be working in states where you have to fill out a daily situation report, that's what Kim and I have to do in Florida. So I simply just upload that at the end of each day that we're working a hurricane and upload that to this as well. Please know that this document you can fill out to the least or to the most of your ability. Do not feel like you have to fill out every single box. It's more to help you and to keep us informed of what's going on how we can best support you as well. So this is a great way in order to just keep us posted on what's going on in your state, and then also any support that may be needed as well. So that's response notes. I did also want to point out our directory as well. And so this is where you find your current delegates and who is listed within your state. It's very easy to do. You can search by state. You can search by institution as well. And we just ask that folks kind of check this periodically just to make sure that your delegates are up to date. Anybody we need to take off, for instance, I just realized that I need to take somebody off of Sydney Honeycutt no longer with us. So I myself actually need to clean this up a little bit. So just making sure that your delegate list stays up to date and keeping us posted on what that is. So it's very easy to search and to see. And then for those folks that actually want to become delegates, there is a link right here that's very easy to send to them so that they can fill out this form and we can get them in as a delegate as well. The last thing I wanted to show is the resource dashboard. Obviously, submitting a new resource is obviously something that we definitely want to make sure that folks are aware of. And as you put something new out within your community, please share with this resource dashboard, because chances are some other folks in some other states would like it as well. We are looking at cleaning up the resource dashboard, and I'm going to let Reagan talk about that a little bit later. But I will tell you that kind of heads up that this will be coming to you regarding, hey, these are the resources we have from your institution. Some of them are outdated. Do you have new updates? And are there new ones that you want to update as well? So, and it's very easy to check which resources are under your institution just by simply clicking your institution and doing search resources here. I won't go into that now, so because don't want to get too much in the weeds. So those were the three things that I wanted to point out on the website. And let me stop sharing this and get back to our PowerPoint real quick. Sorry. Thank you. Okay. So I'm going to kind of wrap up my part here and let you know that, so working to enhance individual professional development, how can Eden support you in your professional development and working in your particular state? Obviously, we encourage folks to get involved with committees and work with other folks throughout the country, especially in programmatic areas that you are focused on within your job. But also delegate engagement. There's delegate portal on the website, which I just showed you, but then also that response notes as well. Keep us posted on what's going on in your state and how we can support. There may be resources that we may be able to send you that you can rebrand and use and get out as quickly as possible, and therefore not recreating the wheel as well. Personal relationships, obviously potential partnerships, multi-state projects and grant projects as well. And then real-time support. I tell the story all the time that when I first got involved in Eden in 2016, it was before hurricanes really started impacting Florida in 2017. And every single time there's a storm coming, the Eden folks are the first folks I hear from. Hey, what can I do to help you? How can I help? What can I do? What can I send you? So it's those personal relationships and real-time support that is just, it's so awesome. And it's so nice to be able to talk to folks who have been through what you're personally going through as well. Working to enhance disaster programming, obviously resources and the resource dashboard is very, very crucial, and want to make sure that we share as many resources out to help our communities that have been impacted disasters. Collaborators, especially with SMEs from across the country, being able to ask folks from around the country, hey, I need some help with developing this, and asking folks for their assistance with that as well. Professional development, including monthly webinars, which Connie is the chair of that particular committee, and so we do have some monthly webinars. I'm hoping some of y'all been able to participate, or participate in the future as well. Trainings, and then obviously our annual conference every year as well. And I'm actually going to turn it over to Reagan. Reagan, do you usually flip through the slides for you?
Actually, you're turning it over to me.
Awesome.
No, thank you. Thank you for everything you were saying, because it leads into the Fatty Eden team. Fatty stands for Food Agricultural Defense Initiative. It's the support part of, it's the support for Eden. And so if you'd flip that screen, we'll tell you what we do. There we go. We support Eden, the structure. So that means a lot of cases we work with the officers. We also work with the executive committee, but POCs are also an important part. How can we work with you to provide the information you need to educate your delegates, and how can we help you with information during a disaster event? And so number two, expand management education. It's really important that on that resource dashboard, that when we have that, when you have that opportunity to help upgrade some of the curriculum on there. For example, there is one curriculum from 1982, which is probably just a little bit outdated. So it's an important part of what's going on, how we can help educate folks. So that's an important piece that Angie talked about. And targeting, communication, and outreach, that's what Ruth does, but we try to get information out through PSAs, through different social media venues. So we work with that a lot. Next slide, please. And try to engage new partners. As we as part of the foundation, we have lots of connections with USDA agencies and other agencies, and we're trying to engage different partners that look at us as we're in every state, territory, and how can we engage the extension network in different kinds of aspects of disaster management. We're always trying to be responsive to emerging needs, and I don't think anything was more important than the twin hurricanes and the flooding that resulted in North Carolina, and the amount of information that needed to be done and sent out the door so folks could help deal with that. This is also where the response notes are extremely important, because our federal partners were asking for almost daily, if not weekly, updates on what was going on in North Carolina. And then we work with the Professional Development Committee to provide those development opportunities. They're a monthly, and so I encourage you to sign up for them. And we're working on the website, trying to upgrade it. You know, it's functioning well now, but you know, the resource dashboard needs to be upgraded. We certainly, if anyone has ideas that can help improve our delivery of educational material for you, please let us know. Next slide.
All right. Turning it over to me. So, you know, I think Angie did a great job, as expected, explaining kind of what Eden does. Fred explaining how the Fatty Eden team kind of supports that. And an analogy we like to use is the network is the brains and we are the brawn. So this is a little bit more about how the Fatty Eden team supports the network. So by managing the grant program. Those grants for 2025 were recently announced. You'll be getting information about those via a newsletter tomorrow. So congratulations to the grantees. So we awarded, there were 9 projects awarded in 2024 that we have wrapped up. And the 5 projects for 2025 that are just kicking off, and then we'll open again for proposals in September. So if anyone is on the call or has delegates within your states who have great project ideas, we administer that grant program. As Fred mentioned, the Fatty Eden team also manages the website. So as we go through, I think at the end of our little section here today, Reagan will have some information about if you need something from our team, this is how you request it. So we're always responsive to suggestions or ideas or even things that you notice. It's a big machine what we do across the network, and so there's a lot of moving parts. So just always flag us if there's something that's incorrect or ideas that you have for the website. We also, the Fatty Eden team supports partnerships through funding. We have partnerships specifically for 1994 and 1890 institutions. Kimberly Davis mentioned she's here representing the 1890 advisory group for Eden. So there are special partnership opportunities that we have available for both of those types of groups as well. Next slide. And then this is a little bit more into the nitty gritty. I could probably talk for a really long time about marketing communications because that's my area of expertise and that's specifically what I do. So I'll try to keep this part brief, but basically, many of you have communication service units probably at your institutions. And I kind of like to think about what I do specifically and what our team does, not just me, but our team is kind of like a communication service unit where we manage social media, we do marketing and announcement emails, we send out things via listservs or with the Connect extension, which I think Reagan is going to talk about momentarily, which is our private intranet and areas for discussion, among other things. And then also encouraging delegate and member engagement are some of the things that fall underneath the marketing communications umbrella. One more slide for me, please, Angie. And additionally, yes, we do media relations, media outreach. We will write press releases. So this is my offer. If there are successful projects that you have completed in disaster education or resources that have been particularly useful or grant projects that you have completed either now or previously, any kind of success story out of work that the network does, we would love to hear about it. We would love to help promote that via press releases. We can coordinate with your institutional communications officers, you know, to if they have media lists and just to highlight the great things that the network is doing. We do graphic design, content creation, help with marketing operations, analytics and reporting. So just everything that you'd expect to fall underneath marketing communications. Our team supports the network and supports the executive committee with that. So we're both proactive and reactive in that. So there are some plans and objectives that we have set, you know, as a team and for the network as a whole. But as I mentioned earlier, always responsive to requests and you know, any kind of pleas for assistance. So if you need help with marketing communications about your disaster education, I'm that person. And I will turn it over to Reagan.
Thank you to my colleagues, Ruth and Fred. I wanted to go over a few things, and some of this is reiterating what Angie said, but I'm going to provide a little bit more about how you go about doing that. So the response notes she already talked about when extension in your state is responding or helping with recovery or disaster, response to a disaster, you would want to fill out a response notes, and those are really important, especially at that national level, to make sure that our program lead at NIFA knows what extension is doing and when there's a disaster that hits. Yeah, as Angie said, maintain your institution's list of delegates. So if you are looking at your list of delegates and you realize somebody's name is spelled wrong, somebody is categorized in the wrong state. This just happened this morning. One of our new delegates from Alaska was categorized as Alabama. Mistakes happen. You can contact us directly. I'll give you the email address at the end of this. We are the team that you need to contact about anything on the website that's not correct, especially when it comes to your delegate list. And then maintain your institution's resources on the resource dashboard. Angie showed you how to look to see if to see what resources you have listed under your institution. And we're going to be sharing more to come, more of a process about how to update this. We're going to hopefully try to do this not on an annual basis, but formally, I think every other year is what we're aiming for. But on an annual basis, you can definitely take a look at it and let us know if any changes need to happen. Right now, since we haven't done this for a while, any kind of formal resource dashboard updates, we're going to be rolling out a streamlined process to do this, so that you all don't have to just send us all of the edits via email and we keep track of that. So we are working on piloting that with a few of our delegates to work out the kinks so it doesn't lead to frustration. So more on that to come. In the meantime, I encourage you to take a look at your institution's resources, and if you notice something is missing, you can use the submission and upload your resources. We love that. And then also, if there's something that you know you have a more updated version of, you can fill that submission, do that the same way you would do a new resource, but just let us know that it's a new, that you're updating the URL, for example. And then other ways to get involved, Angie did mention some of these, but you can serve on a committee, you can share resources to the dashboard, as I already talked about, and engage in discussion in Connect extension. So I'm going to actually share my screen to show you all what Connect extension is. If this looks really unfamiliar to you, then that might mean you've never visited it, or it might mean you're not really a member on it yet. And my colleague Ruth is going to put in a link to that you can click to be added to it. But this is the Eden intranet. We have a calendar on here, which is still a work in progress. There are multiple discussions. You can see which delegates are actually on Connect extension. You have a link to the response notes and the blog. And this is not the day for us to do a deep dive on Connect extension. But I did just want to show you what it looked like instead of talking about it in the abstract. If you want to share about a webinar that you know that's coming up that you're hosting that you think is appropriate to the broader Eden website, to the broader Eden, you can definitely post about that. If you have articles that you find, all you have to do is hit on a blog post. You can also add an event, or you can add a resource, and then topics we can get into in a webinar deep dive. But these are the three main things you would want to know about. Everyone can participate in this. You can look through the content stream and see all of the things that have been added. You can also get emails about what has been added. So if you don't remember to come back here and look at the platform, you're going to be receiving information about it in your inbox. And that is where you would want to set up your notifications to your liking. So again, we can go over that in another another opportunity we're going to be providing in the future, where we're going to go over this with new delegates, or if you were at the conference but you didn't come to our awesome presentation about this. And I know everybody couldn't make it to the conference. So anyway, we will be having more on this, but this is just the blog part, and you can see dates over here. You can find out about how to get involved in committees. And then I'm going to stop sharing. Angie, can you go back to what am I trying to say? Can you go back to the slideshow? Okay, great. And then next slide. Yeah, if you want to learn all you want to know and more about the Fadi Eden Award, you can go on the website, USDA website, and read all about it. It's great bedtime reading Next slide. And then you can contact us anytime, eden@extension.org. This will reach our whole team, which does include myself, Ruth, Fred, and we will get in touch with Mike Gaffney and Christina Sanders, who are also on this call if we need to. So you will reach us and we will get your request question directed to the right person on our team. And thanks so much, Angie, for the time today. Hope we didn't take too much time. I'll hand my time over to you.
Perfect. Thanks so much, guys. Appreciate it. Okay, I want to wrap up before we get to able to open up for questions and discussion with a couple of updates. I'm actually going to ask our former chair, Mr. Tom Ball from Mississippi State University, if he would tell us a little bit about the new MOU with Department of Homeland Security.
Oh, well, thank you, Madam Chair, and thank all of the points of contact for being here today. This is a wonderful gathering and something that will pay benefits for us all for the months and years to come. Because as we all know, Eden is based on personal relationships. And from the very beginning in 1993, when we were dealing with the flooding of the Mississippi River and its tributaries in the middle part of the country, it was those personal relationships that proved most beneficial and was most noticed by certainly USDA, but the Federal Emergency Management Agency as well. And the strength of those personal relationships continue on today. Whenever there is a widespread or a geographic impact that is national or possibly even international in scope, Eden is called on. Whenever there's an animal situation that requires comprehensive attention, Scott Cotton previously, and now the incoming chair, Monty Dozier at Texas A&M AgriLife Extension, heads up Eden Resources and provides the help to the localities at the direction and the behest of FEMA. And in the middle part of the country, Kerry McKillop and Russell have worked with both Illinois Emergency Management Agency and FEMA in developing mitigation strategies for their constituents, their clientele. And it's something that we'd all done. The chair has worked in Florida and those in North Carolina and certainly Tennessee, Kentucky. We have all benefited from the personal relationships that we have established with FEMA, the regional offices, the state contacts, and certainly those in the federal level at the headquarters administrative structure. Well, the chair, she directed us about 14 months ago to begin to determine if FEMA and the Department of Homeland Security had any interest in developing a memorandum of agreement for partnership in working under the Stafford Act in developing response, recovery, resilience, and the topics that we all deal with on a regular basis. Well, certainly the people in Washington were most readily interested in doing that, and shortly around the time of the annual meeting, the administrator of FEMA and the Secretary of Department of Homeland Security signed a memorandum of agreement with Eden for a partnership to work in all of the areas that are of mutual interest. And those are response, resilience, recovery, mitigation, planning, preparedness, all of the things that all of us do on a regular basis. And so with this partnership, we will have a chance to help develop, help review, help research needs, develop strategies for dealing with the impacts of disasters, as well as planning for the prevention and the reduction of impact of natural and technical disasters. So FEMA and DHS recognizes the value of Eden and the individual institutions. Some of you may have been in states that have, at the county level, provided housing for a FEMA disaster recovery center or a survivor recovery center, as they're sometimes called. All of these things will be part and parcel of what we're doing. And on our side, we will appoint liaisons to work with those specific agency requirements. And one of the things that they are certainly interested in is FCS in trying to work with and managing household recovery in an equitable status across the front of the disaster. And the 1890s and the 1994s will have a prominent liaison role to play as well. As well, the 4-H Youth Development Committee. So we are going to be active partners, and we look forward to the benefits from this relationship going forward. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Tom. Please know that Tom likes to give me more credit than it's due, and that Tom was completely led the charge in getting this MOU set up. So thank you very much. A couple of dates I wanted to mention is we do have a midwinter meeting actually with the executive committee, and it's actually coming up next week in Irvine, California. So thank you to Brian Oatman, who is going to be hosting us all next week for our executive committee meeting. We've already pointed out the delegate list and the resources. Annual conference is October 21st through 24th in Portland, Maine. So thanks to University of Maine for being our host this year. Registration will open in June. That call for presentations and posters will be in March. And we were asked a couple of months ago by our program leader with NIFA if we could possibly switch our midwinter meeting, which is the end of February or beginning of March, with our annual conference, which is obviously in October. And so beginning in February of 2026, so a year from now, we're going to hold a mini Eden conference, which is going to mostly be some trainings, some FEMA trainings, and then possibly a poster session as well. It will be a mini conference in Florida, and then we will be back on this new schedule of doing a conference in late February, early March, and then the mid fall meeting, I guess, in October. So just wanted to let y'all know of that change that was going to be coming. So you will see there'll be 2 Eden conferences in the same fiscal, and we greatly apologize for that, but we're trying to make the mini conference a little bit different this year. So with that, I think we have about 10 minutes. So I am going to wrap up. Here's a picture of Portland, Maine, for those who have not been. It's a great city. And I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm actually going to open it up for folks to ask any questions, discussions, anything anyone would like to ask more about. Or if there was something, executive committee, if there's folks that y'all would like to share, please let us know. The floor is open.
I've got a question. I'm not sure if this is the format that it's appropriate, but I got a facilities manager from one of the universities in Wisconsin asking about financial support and housing for after disaster stabilization. I was looking on the Connect Extension Eden website, and I wasn't finding much. Does anybody have any ideas or suggestions for me?
That's a good question. And given the situation with our current federal funding, I'm not sure if my suggestion is going to be helpful or not. But back in our Savannah conference, we had Joe Woody, who's from USDA Rural Development, who gave a presentation on some of the resources that are available for them. I'm happy to share that presentation with you, Carl. Again, I'm not sure, given the current federal situation, what their situation is, but he had some really great resources at that point in time that I'm happy to share, or even connect you with him as well. So, but although I know many of them are not allowed to talk, so.
Interesting times we're in.
Yes,
I'll put
it
my
is.
email in the chat, and if anybody has any thoughts or suggestions, including Angie, thank you. Please
Sure.
send me an email. Appreciate it.
Great, thank you. Amy, we can definitely help with how to manage a donation center. Several of us manage our donation centers in our state, so we can absolutely help with that. I think Shirley dropped off, but yes. Thanks, Carl. Any other, y'all are quiet. Any other questions, concerns? Did we just cover it all? Answered all the questions.
Angie, I have a question for you. Should we submit resources that are more for disasters that are man-made, like accidental or intentional? We just went through the state mitigation plan, and we're really focused on cybersecurity and rail traffic, and also because we're Illinois, barge traffic. I just don't think I've seen that, but is that something that in the future we should really be focusing on?
Absolutely. I definitely think we should. I think we're going to see more and more in cybersecurity. And but yeah, I agree with you. I think we definitely need to have start populating those types of human caused types of disasters. Absolutely. And it
Thanks.
was interesting. We had a John, I think you were there. We had a oh gosh, Stephanie Carlson with Utah actually gave a self-defense presentation at our annual conference, and a lot of folks were like, this kind of stuff we need, because we have a lot of folks working in our extension offices that you have no idea what's going to walk through the front door. And it was something that I hadn't thought about. I'm like, you're exactly right. I mean, these things can happen in our individual county. So so absolutely, I think stuff like that that's important in your own state is going to be important in somebody else, if not right now, eventually. Yes.
I have another question. I'm sorry.
No.
Considering what's going on with the avian flu, is there going to be a section on the Eden website for pulling the resources together for that?
We have talked about that, especially since a lot of our universities are working in research in different areas of how we can pull together some of the things that each of our universities are doing and have it in one place. So it's probably a conversation. I know we've had several meetings here in Florida about it. So I think, I'm sure other universities have had lots of meetings about it as well. So Greg, I know it's something that you have thought about as well, is kind of putting this all together and having it in a way that can be easily accessed by folks.
Yeah, there currently is a little landing page related to avian influenza, but I don't know if it's been updated recently, but I just dropped that in the chat, the current landing page. But one thing that I have done is I've pulled together kind of readily deployable toolkits of things that I can launch, quickly in the face of a disaster. So here recently with the flooding in Kentucky, just having access to kind of a stockpile of ready to go fact sheets or resources would be useful. So anybody willing to take on that work of taking a look at this particular page and then pulling together some like highlighted resources, that would be greatly appreciated.
So yeah, Russell, if y'all had stuff, let us know, definitely.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you. Anything else? Well, again, I appreciate everybody being here today. We'll hang out for a few minutes if folks want to just stay on for a few minutes, but everybody stay warm and stay safe, and make sure that you have the annual conference on your calendar for coming up in October. And again, we will probably do this meeting again in June or July, so be on the lookout for that. Save the date for the next POC. And I think all of you have my email from the invite, but if I can be any assistant, please reach out. And again, we just greatly appreciate y'all joining today. So thanks so much. Have a great day and have a great rest of the week.
Hey, Kimberly, can